This movie is work, as in mental work, but it still pains me I didn't see it in cinema. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joseph and I'm a film fanatic. We discuss movies, series, stories in general, and what it takes to make them good. Even though I knew this movie would leave a mark, it wasn't one of my most anticipated movies of 2024. I'm not a big fan of Timothée Chalamet, space movies, Zendaya, or Denis Villeneuve, but nevertheless, I'm going to talk about Dune Part 2. This is your spoiler warning. I'm going to give a thorough analysis of the work and will definitely discuss major plot points, but I'll try my best to keep it minimal. Dune Part 2 is a 2024 sci-fi movie directed by Denis Villeneuve. It stars Timothée Chalamet as Zendaya as Chani, Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Austin Butler as Field Raphael. Abeg, this movie has too many significant characters. I can't narrow it down to 5 without putting certain other names. So let's just take the first 3. It follows Paul Atreides after the destruction of his house over control of Arrakis, a desert planet rich in a spice-like resource. He is believed to be a savior prophesied about and has to use that to save the universe from a war he foresees. If I were to describe this movie in one word, it would be epic. I can forgive the runtime a little because of the magnificent world it immerses us in. We see cultures, lifestyles, and languages that really convey a strong otherworldly feel. Seeing this movie in cinema is a blessing. I don't think there's any other way to fully appreciate the scope of the cinematography and several of the shots. There's also a good balance between practical and special effects, so not too much reliance on CGI. As a sequel, it actually does really well on expanding the universe and giving a good continuation from where the first story stopped. But if you watch this one first, you will definitely enjoy it as its own story and want to see part 1. The conflict within Paul and how all the expectations and contempt he receives affects his reasoning and worldview is very interesting to watch develop. So many characters, so many talented actors. Not one of them was useless. All of them also had unique and meaningful personalities. Nollywood, please take note. I know it's hard, but you can do it in movies so and not just series. The characters in this movie either push the story forward, took us deeper into the lore, or broadened our perspective on the stakes. Honestly, so much goes on in this movie. To enjoy it, you have to do the mental work. Every single actor delivered for such a star-studded movie. And I know some of you will fight me, but Timothée Chalamet was not the best performance. Silence! Rebecca Ferguson and Austin Butler were easily my favorites. They seemed really into their characters in an indistinguishable way and stood out in a movie that is next to impossible to stand out in. Honestly, I can geek out all day about the individuality of the characters and the peoples we see in the universe. As a writer, that's really what did it for me. My favorite theme addressed in this movie is the Messiah mentality and the practicality behind it. You see characters point out how it's used to keep people subservient. You also see characters passionately welcome the idea. And then there's Chani, who aside from Paul, faces a great deal of emotional turmoil because of it. It really wasn't that deep on her side. She didn't need to ride off into the sunset. I'm not a particularly religious person, but it actually gave me a lot to think about. Then there's also revenge, which as a trope, I love. There's also responsibility and leadership, because throughout the story, we see a visible struggle about Paul to assert his authority without coming off as a tyrant or an opportunist. In conclusion, I gave this movie an 8.5. We have clearly seen a Best Picture nomination. I can't deny how epic the movie is, even though it's not really my thing. It's mainly the world building and the characters that did it for me. But what do I know? It's time for your comments. I'm looking for someone that can recommend good space movies for me. Just for context, if a movie involves Planet A and leaving Planet A, it is a space movie. It doesn't need to involve interplanetary travel. The space movie I remember enjoying most is Life. Also, let me know if you've seen any other potential Best Picture nomination. And while you're there, tell me your best parts of Dune Part 2. Please keep liking and subscribing, and you'll see me soon.